Hey guys, Savageredrecovery back for another video. How are my savages doing? If you guys aren't subscribed, do me a favor. If you want to support the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, get all my notifications. Hit a like, comment, share, help me out with the algorithm. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, you can find me at savage_red_studios, where you can see all of my photography. And also I have a Facebook page and a Twitter. And you guys can check me out on Patreon. You guys can also check me out on the Cash App. Let's get into it. Married teacher and mother, 24, who slept with a teenage boy, dodges jail but gets scarlet letter. So here's a great story about the double standard and the stuff that goes on with boys and teachers and women and men. In a shocking move, an Illinois court has spared a 24-year-old teacher who was repeatedly having sex with a 14-year-old boy any jail time. The perverted and predatory teacher, I'm not going to say what it was because YouTube is going to strike me. Teacher's assistant sexually preyed upon the boy at the special ed school where she worked. Allyssa Gustafson began her predatory campaign by sexting the boy. The victim received photos from his teacher and of her posing in lingerie and swimwear, a court in Illinois learned. Then the teacher went in for the kill, waging a campaign of abuse that spanned March to August in 2019. The Illinois teacher sexually abused the teenage boy at least 5 times during this time period. The mother of 2, who now lives in Tulsa, pled guilty to a single count of aggravated criminal sexual abuse for engaging in a sex act. So, just so we can paint this picture clear, this woman was a special ed teacher, and the boy, who was 14, was a special ed student. So not only was he a boy under the age of 18, where he couldn't consent, but also he was special. He was handicapped, so he also was at a disadvantage. Like, out of anyone that could be considered a victim as a boy, this would be him, because he is not mentally, like, not only can he not consent, but he also is not all mentally there. In her plea with the Illinois court, the disgraced teacher was able to evade a criminal sexual assault charge for what she did to the boy. The conviction for the more serious charge would have landed her in prison for 4 to 15 years. So the charge, which is supposed to be black or white for male or female, is supposed to carry 4 to 15 years. Here's the real shocker. On Friday, Judge Roger Weber discounted the numerous acts of statutory rape the Illinois teacher committed in her clear disrespect for the boy's body's integrity, and deemed that with no prior criminal conviction, the young lady posed no danger to the public. So let's get this straight. She had never gotten in trouble before, but she ended up engaging with a minor who was mentally handicapped or slow or special ed or whatever his disability was more than once, but the judge felt she was no longer a threat to the society. Had this been a man, this would not have been a discussion. They would have given him the max. He would have done 15 years, easy. Judge Roger Weber said Saturday that he did not believe that the teacher, who had no prior criminal conviction, was a danger to the public. However, he said that the requirement that she register as a sex offender for life, the modern day relative of the scarlet letter, would serve to punish her. There are men that get put on that registry for peeing in public. I was in court in Kent, Ohio. All right. There was a man who had a kidney disease where he had to go to the bathroom. He pulled into the courthouse parking lot and peed next to his car. There was a judge that was in that building that was outside that seen him. He got a ticket, and she tried to push that he be a registered offender. I don't know if it was for life or if it was for a short period of time. I'm not specific on that part of the case. I sat in during my court case and got to listen to his case before me, but he has a medical problem, and he was trying to prove to the court that he had this medical problem because he peed in broad daylight. Like, he pulled over and peed at like 5 o'clock. Like, it was 4 o'clock or something like that. It wasn't like he was doing something creepy or sneakily. Like, he pulled over and peed. And him and his lawyer were trying to advocate that he had a medical condition, and the judge would not hear it. Did not want to hear that he had a medical condition of his kidneys. And long story short, it came out that he did have a medical condition from a doctor. But just because he was a man and he peed in public and the judge was out there and she felt offended, she did everything that she could do not to let him plead his case like that. And what's messed up is her being the judge and her being the one that was the complainant. He should have never been on her docket. He should have never been on her docket. She didn't even recuse herself. Like, that is, and that's just something that I seen while I was in court. Like, the statistics show that things are way worse in the criminal and family courts for men than it is for women. But this woman targeted a child who was at a special needs school where she was a teacher of, and all she got was registry and no jail time. When the charge carries 4 to 15 years. Not 1 to 5, not 0 to 10, not 0 to 15. The start, the bare minimum the charge gives you is 4 years. And she got 0 time. Now a resident of Tulsa, Illinois, the disgraced teacher who ravished the teenage boy has served 5 years in prison. Boy would have served 5 years in prison if the prosecutor had this his way. He sent him photos of herself in lingerie. We already went over that. In addition, the sex offender who was in a position of trust over the boy, given that she was his teacher in Illinois, attempted to cover her tracks by telling him to delete any social media posts between the two of them. Those exchanges revealed the teacher's anxiety about being found out. In their chats, some of the exchanges show that she was concerned about fellow employees at the academy discovering their relationship. In fact, her fears were so strong that she ordered him to get rid of all the evidence. The teacher's attorney, Mark Lipton, secured sex offender treatment provided by Michael Kaplan as an expert witness. Kaplan testified in the Illinois court that the teacher did to the boy, notwithstanding he considered her at low risk of reoffending. Kaplan went on to say that the counseling of the teacher had received over the past 7 months had helped her mend her pedo ways. Time in prison, testified, would only worsen the teacher's condition where the urge for having sex with boys is concerned. Considering that there is no treatment options in prison that would address such behavior. So let me get this straight. So a woman does something bad and she got 7 months of counseling. That was more beneficial to her not going to prison. And there's no treatment in prison for women that have this problem, but they send men to prison for the same problem. Now, I personally believe that this is bad either way and that people should go to prison. I'm not advocating that we should not put men in prison for this. I think we should make the rules harder. But how is it that the court is going to put men in prison when they're saying that there's no treatment for this behavior? But when it comes to a female, it wouldn't help it. It would make it worse. So if it would make it worse for this teacher, then why doesn't it make it worse for the men they send to prison? Like, this is the mental gymnastics that these people do to always make women the victim. According to the director of the Circle Academy, she worked at the academy between March 4th and September 4th of 2019, reached out to the Mills. She released the following statement, which reads in part, "We are cooperating fully with this investigation, and we are offering support to the student and the family. At Cunningham, our highest priority will always be the well-being and safety of students. In our school, we strive to provide a supportive environment conducive to learning. We conduct exclusive background checks on all of our employees, and we have verified that all appropriate background checks were completed in this case. So I'm not faulting the school for this because she obviously had no record. But what I'm faulting is the fact that the court system legitimately thought that it would make this woman's case worse. It would make her behavior worse if she went to prison. But this same argument would not be made for a man, nor should it be. But if you're going to take such a hard stance on men, then you should take the exact same hard stance with women. Pedos are bad. We need to just put them in prison. Like, I don't care if it's not going to benefit it. Put them in jail and leave them there, max them out, let them go to prison. Like, that's all you can do. Like, the fact that this woman did this multiple times and she knew what she did was wrong and tried to cover it up, and they still thought that she should not go to prison, is blasphemous. You guys tell me what you think from this article, because this is absolutely crap. Tell me in the comments, guys. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. Hit me up at savageredrecovery@gmail.com. Follow me on IG. If you guys see any stories or articles like this, please email them to me or message me on IG, or if you join my Patreon, you guys can talk to me directly. I love breaking up the narrative that women are always the victim and women don't do bad things, and it's the double standard like this that's hurting society. As always, stay savage.